Welcome. I'd like to take a moment to talk with everyone about the merch store. The merch store helps to pay staff and the artists. I'd greatly appreciate it if you would come check it out. There's also some really cool merchandise that you might like, and it supports the writers. When somebody sees the name of the book on merchandise, they're going to check out the book, and then they're going to check out the writer's work. And so the writers' names will spread more and more, and maybe they'll get more fans. And that's kind of my hope for this merchandise, that it gets out there and helps. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to take a look real quick before we get started with today's special guest. So as you can see, I got a Redbubble page, and on that Redbubble page, there's going to be a link in the description. You can see different variations of Book of 42 Squared. So that's the impact title part. The full title of the book is, of course, 42 Stories Anthology Presents, Book of 42 Squared. To get the full thing of that, you can go to this logo, which has the whole thing on there. It's harder to see because of the camera, but if you go to the site, you can kind of close up to it. This says Book of 42 Squared, and here it says 42 Stories Anthology Presents. So you get all of it with this design. And what I recommend doing with each of the designs that are available on Redbubble is that you go view this design on the products available, and so that you can see all of them. You can see that there's like a mouse pad, hats. What else? There's a pet blanket that's really cute, and also, yeah, these are cute as well. What I like is the hat here. I think it came out really well. The shirts are neat too. And what else is kind of neat? There's a lot of stuff. There's a laptop sleeve. Somewhere in here there's tapestry. Now, what I read up about the tapestry that Redbubble sells is that it's kind of like a towel. So that would be your towel, 42, and look up the whole towel connection. You'll see from Hitchhiker's Guide, there's this whole thing about not forgetting your towel. And now you can have one from the 42 Stories Anthology book. There's cup holsters, blanket, bags, and the mugs are pretty cool. There's also a tall version right here. There's a lot to see on this site, and I hope that you'll come and check them out, check out all the designs. I'm going to continue adding more, yeah, I'll make announcements about that. Okay, without further ado, let's get to our special guest. Okay, welcome to another segment of 42 Stories Anthology Presents. This is your host, Bam, and I am talking to a very special guest for me because I've known you for a long time. Welcome, Dawn.
It's great to see you again after all these years.
Yeah, it's been a while, like a decade. This is the cover that we're working with. It's a draft. What's your impression of it so far?
I really like it a lot. It's very colorful. The titles stand out. Even on the spine, it looks really good.
Oh, the
So,
artist to be happy to hear.
yeah, yay, artist.
Yeah, Catherine. The authors picked the cover, and I was happy they picked something that had 42 pictures on both sides.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And we also have a logo where I put your name. So
Very
yeah,
good.
welcome again. And this logo will appear on the book as well. But beyond that, I'd like to talk about your bio. I'm going to go ahead and read it off for you. Let me know if I make any mistakes, okay? So
I will have my red pen in my mouth.
awesome. It's like the old days. Award-winning author Don Greenfield Ireland has 25 published books, 5 series, cozy, mystery, sci-fi, fantasy, billionaire shapeshifters, dystopian, and a dozen plus screenplays. Don edits, formats, and publishes clients' books. She has certificates from the UCLA Professional Program of Screenwriting and Screenwriting U. All right.
That sounds good.
You were the special guest judge for the werewolf category. Yeah. What was your impression of that chapter? Was it a fun chapter to judge?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love anything werewolves, really any special little creatures. It doesn't make any difference what they are. They're all really good. And I absolutely love this image of your werewolf. I'm gonna have to steal that.
I'll
I
send it
just
to you.
on my desktop, it's a really great image.
Yeah. Free Picks has some pretty good generated images. It reminded me of your Last Dog book, and that's
Mm.
why I picked it because of the a little spoiler for anybody who hasn't read it. There's a wolf in it. Yeah, and that's a really fun book. That's what inspired, and also why I thought that you chose werewolf was because it was the closest category to dogs. Uh, but that was my thinking.
No, not really. I mean, basically, I have always loved, the supernatural, the paranormal. Uh, so the werewolf category fit right in there with my likes.
Okay. By the way, where are you located?
I am in New Braunfels, Texas,
Okay.
where it's boiling hot.
Yeah.
We've really started having hot weather back in I think it was April. We had a couple of days that went up to almost 100, and it's like way too soon. That this is just, hopefully uh, by next year I will not be in Texas.
Oh, what are your plans after that?
I have been thinking about New Hampshire.
Hmm.
Um, who knows? There's a lot of time between now and then, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the weather's nicer. What's funny though is you mentioned how hot it is in Texas. When I moved to Japan, people are like, "Our summers are so hot. Are you gonna be able to handle it?" And their hot summer is like 88.
Oh my
And
God.
I said,
Yeah, that's
"Wait,
like a spring
88?"
day.
Yeah, I haven't even had my air conditioning on. I have the fan, and that's it. It's okay. But upstairs it's a little hot, but downstairs it's fine.
Yeah, it's funny.
And then they blaze the AC when it's just 88. And I go, okay. So
Well, yeah, that's their climate.
wait
We're
till
roasting here, people up in Alaska are fine with it freezing, so hey,
yeah,
it's all
that's their version of hot. It's okay.
yeah.
But it was easy for me coming here in their summers. It's so easy. Where is your writing space, by the way?
I've always had a separate office. Anytime I buy a house or rent a house or even an apartment, I make sure that I have a separate room from my office. I don't want it out in the living room. I don't want it in my bedroom. To me, it's a sacred space, and so yeah, my office is not in a really great place here because the washing machine and dryer are close by. So, if anytime I have any kind of an appointment, I have to make sure that nobody is using the washer and dryer, and shut the door because we don't want the cats in here.
Oh, you have cats too, along with dogs?
Yeah, I have two cats. My black cat is 16 and a half years old.
Hmm.
And then his younger sibling is her name is Lola Jean, and she's like 5 years younger and a little chubby, but it's okay. We love her.
Yeah. Well, I think chubby cats are sweet. Usually they want to get closer, I found.
Yeah, they both have strange personalities, all by themselves and with each other. It's
Mhm.
a love-hate situation they have for each other.
Um, yeah. I hear that about cat owners, that their cats won't get along sometimes and they like fight for attention.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're strange little creatures.
and this creature has a question for you. What got you into writing?
Daydreaming. And I
Oh,
cannot and I cannot stress this enough for people. Write your daydreams down because they could turn into a book. And that's basically what happened. I had a very long commute. Uh, this was back in 1979. And anybody that's familiar with Houston, okay, so this was West Houston, Highway 6, 1960. So I used to drive down Highway 6, go across to Addicks Dam, which at that time was all trees on both sides of the road. It was just absolutely beautiful. And, traffic in Houston is just, awful. And there's stops and goes and stops and goes. And I would just be, daydreaming. And then this daydream, I built on it for 2 or 3 days. And then I finally brought a yellow line tablet and a pen and put it on my passenger seat. And anytime I stopped, I would just jot down things. And before you know it, I mean, I had a whole tablet that was filled up, and I'm sorry to say this, I stole some time from my employer and typed it up. Oh, well. So, yeah, so daydream, write your daydreams down. And sometimes even, if you have dreams at night that wake you up, make sure that you have a pad of paper and a writing instrument on your end table and jot things down, because in 7 seconds, it'll be gone, so don't think you're going to remember it the next day.
Yeah, that's why I really like cell phones. And I wasn't too into them like 20 years ago. But as time went on, I started putting my notes like that into my phone. And some of them have become stories that got published. So you're right.
Yeah, it's really important to keep those things.
Yeah. But maybe one of my favorites is when I moved to Japan, Don. This kid, I guess, far away was saying like, "Daddy, Daddy," and I heard it, and I'm like, "Wow, that'd be a great ghost story." Ended up
Yeah,
writing a ghost story, and I got an award for that story. And I went,
that's
"Wow," from some short story plays. Okay, just I was
that
at a
sounds
stoplight.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and you never know where it'll come from. So it's good to have something available to write stories with, like you're saying. And
Yeah.
hmm, yeah, and you
Yeah,
started
because
daydreaming and
you blink and they're gone,
hmm,
you could lose so many fabulous things, and uh napping and going to bed at night and just letting my mind loose, that usually brings a lot of solutions to anything that I'm working on. Like, if I'm just trying to figure out what's my character going to do or say or whatever,
hmm,
you'd be surprised how uh, when you let your mind loose, you can come up with all kinds of solutions. So yeah, napping, sleeping, meditation,
hmm,
anything that just lets you just float out there, things come to you.
it's great. Let's look at another form of inspiration for some people. As you mentioned, napping, that helps you kind of think out. Some people like to listen to music or watch TV while they write. Do you do that?
This is a an odd thing. Back in the 80s, when I was really writing, um, I used to love to go to, nightclubs, bars, whatever, and I would bring my, all my stuff with me and just, get into it with all that noise. Now, however, I have to have complete silence. It's really funny how that transition happened. I'm not sure how it happened or why it happened, but I went from being able to, you know, delve into my creative consciousness with all that racket going on. And then there was one day where it was like silence.
Hmm,
And I mean, I've been writing in silence for, I'd say, 25 years.
hmm. Yeah. Well, they actually think that there's no such thing as multitasking. More and more people are saying that even listening to music is multitasking when you're doing
Hmm.
something else. So there's something to writing in silence. Has any have any songs or movies inspired you later on?
Oh yeah. I mean, songs can just really bring up all kinds of things from, what you've lived or what you hope to live or whatever, whether it's the lyrics or just the music itself. As a matter of fact, the other night I rewatched a movie that I really absolutely love, and it's called Baghdad Cafe. I don't know, this is from 1987, and Jack Palance is in it, and then what is her name? CCH Pounder, is that woman's name? There's 3 initials, and then her last name is Pounder. I think it's CCH Pounder. And then a German woman. And it's one of those movies where you have to really focus on what's going on the screen. And at first it just seems like, like, what the heck is this? It's just this woman running around, screaming at her husband, and, the Baghdad Cafe is an absolute dump. And then this German woman shows up. I mean, it's very magical. The whole situation is very magical if you will pay attention to it and, focus on what's going on, and it's one of those movies that you have to watch a couple of times because you're going to miss things. Even though it's a slow building story, you're going to miss things. So.
Yeah, I was just looking it up to check what you're asking. And yeah, CCH Pounder, Jack
Okay.
Palance, Christine Kaufman, yeah, a few others.
I don't know what the German lady's name was.
It's not Christine Kaufman?
I don't think so.
Oh, there's another person. I see. Marianne
Yeah.
Segerbrench. I can't say correctly.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, that's the German lady.
Yeah. And I'm not sure to say her last name. The first part's Sage. Brecht.
Brecht.
Brecht. So it's Sage Brecht.
Sage Brecht. Yeah.
So you say. All right. Yeah, I'll check out the movie later. I recognize all of them, so they're all well-known actors now.
Oh, Jack Palance is a riot.
Why are we going backwards?
I don't know.
Just a
Who
moment.
has control of the?
Yeah, it's probably a werewolf. So I'd like to talk about, well, kind of how I met you, which was a writers group. Do you still have one? Is there one that you want to talk about?
So the writers group that you were in, that was my critique group. And I retired that after 24 years and really didn't do anything for a while. And then I started up, I tried to start up just a writers discussion group where we would just, talk about things, doesn't necessarily have to be about writing, but just for writers to get together because, it can be a very lonely occupation. So it's good to have other writers to talk about or to talk with, and right now it's only 3 people. It's kind of strange how people just do not want to get together, it's kind of a form, and I've tried LinkedIn, I've tried Facebook, I've tried Twitter, and it's an online thing, so you don't have to, physically go anywhere. And sometimes we talk about, our writing, and sometimes we bash, politicians or, what's ever in the news. I mean, it's just really it's a fun time. It's anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half in the evenings.
Oh, well, do you know a link to it offhand?
I can send you something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share it. If I post a blog version of this, I'll put a link to it in that, and I could also put a link in the description of wherever I post this video later.
Well, and people can email me if they want. I mean, it's Dawn at degreenfield.com, and in the subject line, just put your writers group, or info about your writers group, something, and then we'll work out, times. I mean, typically we meet on a Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, Texas time. But sometimes that has to move to either Tuesdays or Thursdays, depending on people's schedules.
Yeah. So if people are interested, they should definitely check it out. I hope they do. I hope they do. So let's see. I want to talk about your dreams. Do you have any, not actual dreams, but hopes and all that, like goals? Are there any writing awards that you hope to achieve and receive?
Well, the big one that I hold firmly in my head is to get an Academy Award for one of my screenplays. And this could be, an original screenplay, or it could be an adaptation of one of my books into a screenplay. I don't care. I just want it.
Hope you get it.
I'm aging here, folks, so come on,
Yeah. With all your knowledge, I'm sure something will come out of it and you'll get something. If not that, I mean, I hope you get that, but you'll get some more awards here and there, for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
But you've dealt with a lot of stuff. How do you handle rejection? And also, how do you celebrate acceptance?
In the early days, when I was trying to submit things to editors and publishers and literary agents, I mean, the first reject that I got just, almost floored me. It's like, and the thing about it is, it was just a standard reject letter. It wasn't anything, addressed personally to me or about, I don't even know if they mentioned the work that I sent them. It's just so ridiculous, but and over time you just get to the point where it's like, okay, fine and dandy, and I'm trying to think, let's see, the first, okay, so there's a distinction between the first book I wrote and the first book published. So the first book that was published was my hardcover book, the Puppy Baby book. And that was, let's see, when was that? Okay, that was published in 2000, December 1st of 2000. And, I had sent the layout and everything around to probably every publishing company in New York. They probably have a file folder with my name on it. Do not accept anything, this woman's crazy. So after getting all these rejections and everything, I found someone to help me get the thing produced, found an artist, found a layout person, found a woman that hooked me up with a printing company over in Hong Kong, because I could not afford to have this thing printed in the United States. It would have been like, $30,000 or $40,000, because it's a full color book. And so I had it printed in Hong Kong, and that was a long process, sending the file and then having them set up the file, and then, them sending me the file again and making corrections. And I mean, it was a back and forth thing. And I think overall it probably took 2 or 3 months. And then I finally got the cases of books. So then the first book that I wrote and published was, well, let's see, that was Prophecy of Thal. Back then it was called Second Chance, and it was awful. It was god awful. My character cried for about 85 to 90% of the book. And until I met an editor at a writing event somewhere around somewhere in the early 2000s, that woman said to me, take your characters' ages down to teenage years. That way there you get two audiences. You get your young adult and then you get your adult. And so I took them down from 28 to 30 down to 17 and 18. And, at that meeting, I thought, oh, that's a piece of cake, Well, it wasn't a piece of cake. It was a complete rewrite, having to completely think, like, okay, these are teenagers. They're not going to talk like that. They're not going to think like that. They're not going to act like that. So it was a, page one rewrite. And then it went through several rewrites after that. So
Okay.
it's a journey.
So it sounds like you just hurdle through whatever it is and use it as a challenge and get stronger. And that's what I
Oh,
hear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never let anyone, that doesn't believe in what you're doing, never let them have power over you.
Yeah.
I've known people who have stopped writing, have stopped their artwork, have stopped, doing something that their heart longed for because somebody just, pounded them. Don't do it. Celebrate yourself.
Yeah. So what about dissertations? No, we don't have to get into that. That's all that's keeping me from writing is I have to write a dissertation. Yeah, seems
Now
to be
that
what's haunting me.
that sounds very painful.
It'll lead to good things at least. But much like a lot of your writing is done for you. What was the first story you wrote? It was the Prophecy of Tal, you said?
Yeah, Prophecy of Thal.
Oh, sorry.
Back then it was Second Chance, and I think I went through like 3 or 4 titles and revisions until I met that editor that told me to take my characters' ages down. And so yeah, that goes, and you're asking, when was it published? Well, let's see, it was actually, the ebook was published in September of 2017, the paperback in October of 17. And then there's an audiobook out there that was January of 2018. I'm not crazy about the audiobook. One of these days I am going to just, get a handle on all that and just do my own audiobooks, like when I have nothing better to do and have the time. But what I don't like about the audiobook is that the narrator used all these different voices instead of just doing a regular read. And I don't like it, To me, it's like, it's better if you just do a straight read instead of trying to inflict characters' voices, because then after a while, if you've got 20 characters, how are you going to come up with 20 different sounds? Some of them are ridiculous, so that's that. So yeah, that was the first story that I ever wrote. That's the one where going down that long commute to work, that I jotted things down.
Yeah, I don't know how much of The Last Dog you heard, but when I was listening to it at first, I was kind of put off by the narrator's reading because she did these stereotypical plantation voices. I don't know how else to put it, for the butler, I think, and the maid. Was it a butler and a maid? Or just friends?
Oh, no, just so there's Bill and Teresa Maxwell
But
are,
they're friends or helpers or something.
oh, okay, probably Abby Dog's grandparents, human grandparents.
Is that who they were? I couldn't really tell the way that the narrator was reading them off. It's like they were.
It's like I have to redo
Yeah.
everything.
But I was just kind of put off by it, and I go, "This isn't something you would write. This is something they're throwing in." So I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's just because I know you. If I were someone who didn't know you, I wouldn't realize that. So it
Yeah.
also comes off on you when someone reads it a certain way.
Read the book, forget the audio.
Is that the message? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I want to back up. I want to tell you something. Okay.
Sure.
So Prophecy of Thought. No. Yeah, we're okay.
Oh, here's
Prophecy of Fall was started in 1979.
oh,
It was finished in 1984, the first draft, and then it was published 33 years later.
hmm.
Yeah. So don't give up on yourself. Sometimes you can write a book, in less than a year. Sometimes it takes a while, and what you're going to learn is that no first draft is ever publishable. Sometimes not even the second draft, So, take your time, get the story that you want down on paper.
Yeah. Although I couldn't pronounce the name, I did read that book. And I disagree with how you said it wasn't that good because I really liked it. But maybe you meant the first draft. When you were
Which one?
saying,
Oh, okay. The first draft was
yeah,
horrendous.
because
I still have it
whatever I
in the
read, it
box.
is good.
Oh
So
yeah, I love the story now. I
yeah.
love it. And I should tell you that a year before it was published, or I published it, I realized, well, Tracon really needs someone to thwart him at all times, and someone who is interested in Delane, and I didn't have that character. So then Harish was born,
Oh,
so Harish came into it, as Tracon's rival for Delane. And so that put in a lot of tension and some really good energy, so you have to really go through all these layers.
yeah, that's all about character building. So I hope that some people join your group and ask you about that. I mean, you know your stuff.
I,
Speaking of
I'm
that,
so
how can people find you?
okay. So hang on here. Okay, so I'm on, I'll just go down the list. I'm on Amazon, of course, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, LinkedIn. I say that I'm on TikTok, but I think I've only used it once.
Hmm.
So don't look for me there because you won't find me. So my Amazon.com is it's /author/Dawn Ireland, all one word. And then Facebook is dawn.ireland.18. And then Twitter is all one word, Dawn Ireland. Instagram is Dawn Greenfield Ireland. And Goodreads and LinkedIn are both, oh, wait a minute, no, Goodreads is Dawn Ireland, all one word. And then LinkedIn is DE Greenfield. So I don't know how that got like that, but oh well.
Yeah, you got a bunch of them. It's good. Yeah, it's good to spread your wings far, in writing. So people can find you.
You don't know where your audience is going to come from.
Yeah. Except what that dancing one you mentioned. I'm not going to bother with that.
TikTok,
Yeah.
yeah, like I've only been on there like I think maybe once or twice, and sorry, but I don't see the relevance.
Yeah. I think it's beyond my generation too. So I hear you. Thank you for coming, and here's thank you in a bunch of different ways that I
Well,
found an AI generated machine. Yeah.
that's really
So yeah, thank you for your time.
well. Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate it. And I really love the 42 stories idea. I think the anthology is going to be really great.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it coming out. It's going to come out in November.
November? Okay, good.
Yeah.